HarperCollins and HarperAudio present Apocalypse: How Catastrophe Transformed Our World and Can Forge New Futures by Lizzie Wade, read by Christina Delaine. A note before we begin. For maps, notes on the text, and more, don't forget to download the accompanying enhancement PDF from your audiobook provider. For Lucas. Author's note. This book is built on the foundation of scientific evidence and journalistic rigor. I've read countless research papers and interviewed scores of scientists, both remotely and in the field. I've done my best to both capture the latest archaeological evidence about the societies and events I write about, and reflect the generosity, compassion, and empathy with which today's archaeologists approach the past and the people who lived in it. They've taught me to see our history as a place of surprises and possibilities, where any story I thought I knew could be reinvented if only I could manage to see it from a different perspective. And so this book is also an act of imagination. Throughout, you'll find narrative scenes set in the past. Some of them trace the full arc of a past apocalypse, and others attempt to see one moment in time through the eyes of a particular person. Some of those people are known historical figures, indicated by the fact that they have names. The others I've created through doing deep research into daily life in particular places and times, and imagining what it might have felt like to occupy them in the same way we experience our own lives, day by day, year by year, never knowing what will happen next. For a detailed list of sources and explanations of how I used them, as well as some exciting alternative viewpoints, please see the selected bibliography and further reading, which you can find in the enhancement. Introduction. The End. 7,000 years ago, the world ended. The sea ate the land, creeping up shorelines with the steadiness of a predator closing in on its prey. First it devoured beaches. Then it filled river mouths and estuaries where fresh water flowed to the ocean, sending poisonous torrents of salt water upstream. It strangled the life out of the plants people collected and the animals they hunted and fished. At first, those people could learn to gather new plants and hunt different animals, but that only worked for a time. Eventually, the sea covered their homelands, and they had to find new ones. But as soon as they settled into the rhythms of a new place, learned which animals lived there and how best to hunt them, which plants would nourish and which would kill, the sea came again. The water followed them everywhere, relentless in its pursuit, all over the world. People who once lived on vast continents now found themselves on islands cut off. Children paddled boats over the villages their grandparents had grown up in. Eventually, the sea gave up, but the damage had been done. People were left living in a mere remnant of the world their ancestors once inhabited. 4,000 years ago, the world ended. The city was a marvel, almost a miracle. People came from far and wide to trade there, and many of them stayed to build their fortunes and their futures. Ideas, cultures, religions, and goods mixed and mingled, as did the people who brought them to the city. Life was exciting, so exciting, but also comfortable, with a government that busied itself building homes and roads to serve its booming population. And then the rains that filled the city's reservoirs each year stopped falling. People lost faith in their leaders, and when those leaders were toppled, there was no one to replace them. Pristine streets became trash dumps, and sturdy houses that had stood for generations were scavenged to build makeshift shacks. As their city disintegrated, so did people's sense of citizenship, of belonging. They retreated into family and kin groups and turned on anyone deemed an outsider. People grew accustomed to going to sleep hungry and startling awake many times.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?